In our news bulletin for this evening, Niue works towards completing the very first soils manual. Ecclesia Cristiano Niue congregations mark the introduction of gospel to Niue and raised more than $70,000. With the local community turn out in numbers to host their village show day that also marks 169 years since their ancestors accepted Christianity. Niue's Agriculture Department is in the final stages to develop Niue's very first soil manual that will enable stakeholders to identify the different soil types and what crops are most suitable. This year, FAO has marked as the Year of Soils. It highlights the importance of soil for food security. The Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries has been working on the manual for the past 2 to 3 years, but progress has been delayed due to funding. DAF representative Boyokisani says that they are thankful that through this process they've been able to get funding through the Environment Department's Forest Protection Area Management. Last week there was a training session that looked at soil descriptions that has been in collaboration with this consultant who has had extensive experience in Niue in the past.
A soil scientist, his name was Dave Leslie. He's done a lot of work for Niue in the past in terms of soil analysis and soil profiles and all the soil series in Niue. In the past, back in 1979 when he did the first training, he was able to do all the hard work back then. This time around is only putting all the information together from all the soil series and all the classifications. And also, I think the most important event this time around during the training is to launch the soil manual, which is still in the draft at this time. But we're looking at finalizing the soil manual for Niue, which puts together all the information that can be available to all the stakeholders and mainly farmers, and also for us officers of the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries.
Through this drafting process, the team have attempted to make the manual as user-friendly as possible. Mr. Leslie has had experience in developing similar manuals for Fiji and the Cook Islands.
It is very scientific. I admit that the manual is scientific, but there are other information in there with regards to crop suitabilities that we are able to use to be able to assist the farmers in growing specific crops in specific soil types in Niue. We understand the chemical principles behind the soils. As we all know that our soils are very porous, and most of our soils, after reading all the documentations and all the work that is put into the Niue soils, I think in comparison to a lot of the soils around the world, I think we're quite unique in a way that we can say that our soils are quite fertile. And in terms of the soil chemistry, one of the things that we have noted in terms of nutrient deficiencies is potassium. Is one of the nutrients that is low in the soil, and also zinc in terms of one of the micronutrients that is deficient in our soils. But in terms of the makeup of our soils, it's as we all know, it's very porous, and a lot of the classification in the soil series are in the manual. And I'd like to invite all the stakeholders to, if they have a chance, they can have a look at the manual, and also to familiarize themselves with the manual, and we'll be able to assist in any way to be able to work together with the farmers.
The department is hoping to have the manual finalized and completed by the end of the year before it can be launched and used by farmers. Ecclesia Niue congregations from around the island gathered to mark 169 years since Christianity was introduced to Niue. The Millennium Hall was packed with parishioners who observed a moment of silence in the beginning out of respect for the late Reverend Aifulia Pomale, who was the president of the Ecclesia Cristiano Niue before his untimely passing this year. The service was led by acting President Reverend Vilika Mupala Viviani, who reflected on the theme, Moving Forward with Jesus. Each of the villagers were given a time to sing hymns and songs to show their joy and appreciation for the Word of God. According to the Ecclesia Niue treasurer, Kupai Kelly, was able to announce the contributions from the different village congregations. And Avasele Onyanipata donated the most with a total of $12,000. The day's proceedings collected more than $76,000 that will go towards the ongoing developments within the church. Next year marks a milestone of 170 years since Pinyamina and Bolo brought the gospel to Niue that has helped shape the country into what it is today. It was another full-on day for residents of Mutalo as they hosted their annual village show day. They brought people together to showcase the best from the land, the sea, and also craft work. The iconic event is in its 39th year, and this started all the way back at the old Coffee Primary School all those years ago, which included the popular Around the Island bicycle race. The most popular of such days, the food stores selling a variety of cooked food and drinks. Formalities started with a blessing and opening hymn from the Ecclesia of Mutalo and the Tamaki group from New Zealand. Mutalo also celebrated the Pinyamina Day and its 61 village braves who escorted Pinyamina's arrival, landing at Fupiu to bring the gospel to Niue 169 years ago. The stores that surrounded the village green and both sides of the main road did not disappoint the diverse crowd of visitors. Fun events included a sika throwing competition. There was a coconut bowling for the women, the traditional basket weaving competition, coconut husking, as well as the grease pole climbing for the kids. Also on the show was the cultural and contemporary performances by the village youth group, plus those who are descendants of Mutalo that kept the crowds around for a while despite the scorching heat. The day extended well into the evening with a darts competition at the village community hall. That concludes our news bulletin for this evening. Do join us again for our next news bulletin on Thursday.